What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Dude Hines Show. I'm currently live on YouTube. This is the first time I've been live on YouTube. I want to be trying to start doing it a lot more often. And right now, today is Sunday, and each Sunday I'm going to try to, up until the NFL draft, I'll be doing a Cincinnati Bengals 7-round mock draft. Since obviously, I'm a huge Bengals fan, and most of my followers and listeners are Bengals fans. I'll be doing a 7-round mock draft each Sunday until the NFL draft. So I'll go ahead and get started here. This is from Pro Football Network. It was the NFL mock draft simulator. This is not what I picked. This was a simulator. So yeah, this isn't really my mock draft. It's what I got from Pro Football Network. So I'll go ahead and get started here. Number 5. Lots of Bengal fans, pretty much for the most part, maybe even all Bengal fans, want Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle from Oregon. In this mock draft, Sewell dropped to 5, so I had the Bengals taking him. So with the 5th pick, the Cincinnati Bengals select Penei Sewell, offensive tackle from Oregon. He's obviously the best offensive line prospect in this draft. You can move Jonah Williams to right tackle and have Sewell at left tackle. You can have two really, really good tackles for the next decade, protecting your franchise quarterback and Joe Burrow. And if Sewell isn't available at 5, don't be surprised at all if the Bengals trade back. I would be for that if they would trade back if he's not available. You can maybe get like an extra first, maybe second round pick, depending how far you drop back, and still maybe get somebody like Devontae Smith or Kyle Pitts, somebody like that. But Sewell would be a great pick. That's an A+ pick for me. I would love it if he's there. If he's there, that's who I'm taking 100%. If he's not there, if I'm the Bengals, I'm 100% trading back. So with the first round, the 5th overall pick, the Bengals took Penei Sewell. In the second round, the 38th pick overall, this is one of my favorite, probably my favorite pick in the whole entire mock simulator. I had the Bengals taking Florida wide receiver Kadarius Toney. Toney is one of my favorite draft prospects in the entire draft. He reminds me a lot of John Ross. And with the NFL Combine coming up in a month or so, the Combine has a lot to do where Kadarius Toney's draft stock may be. If Toney has a low 4.3 40-yard dash, or maybe a 4.29, something like that, there's no chance he'll be here in the second round. But if he kind of isn't great, and the 40-yard dash, kind of like KJ Hamler. Last season at the Combine, lots of people thought KJ Hamler could have had a really nice 40-yard dash and bump him into the first round. That was actually not the case. He kind of disappointed some people, and he was in the second round pick to the Denver Broncos. But Toney's 40-yard dash has a lot to depends where he could possibly go in the draft. I don't think he'll make it past the first round, because I think a team maybe like the Packers towards the end of the first round, or maybe even the Chiefs, add another speedster at wide receiver. But I just love Toney. He's so fast. He's so explosive. Kadarius Toney is everything the Bengals wish John Ross would have been for Cincinnati. Toney, I know they might be hesitant to draft a wide receiver early because they do have two really good receivers in Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. But if Toney's there in the second round, that's pretty much who I'm taking. Unless somebody who should not be there drops, that's who I'm more than likely going to take 100 out of 100 times. But if Toney's not there, like you said, Moore from Purdue, that's a good option as well. I would be okay with him. I think wide receiver is a little bigger need than people expect, because we have Boyd and we have Higgins, but we do have Auden Tate. But to me, I don't think the coaching staff really believes in Auden Tate as much as like us, we the fans, believe in Tate. Because at one point, Auden Tate was a healthy scratch this season, which is just absolutely crazy because he's so talented. But if Kadarius Toney's there in the second round, that's somebody who I would absolutely love, and I have him the 38th pick overall in the second round. So far, the Bengals have Penei Sewell, Kadarius Toney in the second round. In the third round here, with the 69th pick overall, I have the Bengals taking Miami, Florida edge rusher Quincy Roche. And let's see here, and this season he had 14 tackles for loss, with Carl Lawson being a free agent and Sam Hubbard being a free agent after the 2021 season. We really need an edge rusher. We barely average a sack a game this year. You take away Carl Lawson nearly had half the sacks of the entire Bengals roster. That's just absolutely insane. And the Bengals have to sign Lawson. If they don't, they're going to draft edge early. Um, but we really need edge, and I think that would be a good pick, good value pick there. Team need one of the best player available in the third round, more than likely. So Quincy Roche in the third round. Going on to the fourth round, I have the Bengals taking Tennessee Volunteers guard Trey Smith. You know, guard is really trouble spot for us. And we have Quentin Spain, he's a free agent. Michael Jordan's freaking horrible. We have XFF, XSF, that's what I want to call him because Xavier Sufilo, I always mess up that name. But we don't really have that really good guy at guard. I know most Bengal fans, including myself, we really want Joe Tooney or Brendan Sheriff from Washington and the Patriots. But realistically, I mean, with our coaching staff, we don't really sign top free agents. I mean, last season, DJ Reader was our biggest signing ever. So I really don't think we'll sign Tooney or Sheriff. I really wish we would, but I doubt it. So I have them drafting Trey Smith in the fourth round. Trey Smith would be a lot higher, but he has blood. He had blood clots back in 2000, I believe, 18 or 19, and that's very, very concerning. And that's a health issue more than football. You look at Maurice Hurst several years ago. He had some heart issues, and he dropped to the fourth round, I believe. And if it wasn't for those heart issues, Maurice Hurst more than likely would have been a first-round pick. So I understand that the Bengals don't go Trey Smith, and other teams may be wary of him drafting him with his extreme health issues. That's a very big concern. But I went with Trey Smith in the fourth round. So we go to the fifth round. I had the Bengals drafting Michigan cornerback Ambry Thomas. In 2019, Thomas led the Big Ten in corners in the PFF rankings. He had the best rating according to PFF in the Big Ten with all the cornerbacks in the Big Ten. Thomas actually did not play this year. He opted out due to the coronavirus. But William Jackson is currently a free agent, and it's not a guarantee that the Bengals will sign him. After the 2021 season, Darius Phillips is a free agent. Mackenzie Alexander's free agent coming up, just like Jackson, this upcoming offseason. Also, Trey Wayne's contract is ridiculous. He has 3 years for 42. That was his contract. He's not played a game for us yet. And I don't think he'll last his whole contract with the Bengals. I wouldn't be surprised if he got cut this offseason or next offseason. So I think corner is a very big need for the Bengals. If we don't if we don't re-sign William Jackson, expect us to draft corner really high. Maybe, I mean, like I said earlier in the episode, maybe trade back if Sewell's gone at 5 and draft somebody like Patrick Surtain or someone like that, Barley, or in the second round if Wade from Ohio State's there, maybe grab him. But corner's a much bigger need than people think. If we don't sign Jackson, we're really, really big trouble. But I went with Ambry Thomas in the 5th round. To me, I think it's a pretty good pick. If he's there, I wouldn't be against taking him. But we really, really need corner. And regardless if we sign Jackson, we still need some corners. Because like I mentioned, Phillips is a free agent a year from now. And Mackenzie Alexander, who's played really, really well this season, is a free agent as well, too. So I would kind of like that pick. So as we go on to the 6th round, I have the Bengals taking Buffalo running back Jarrett Patterson in 6 games this season. For Buffalo, Patterson had over 1,000 rushing yards in just 6 games. He also had 19 rushing touchdowns. That is absolutely insane. And within a 2-game span, he had over 700 rushing yards. That is just mind-boggling. But 6 games, like I mentioned, over 1,000 yards. And in 1 or 2 of those games, he was actually injured, so he would have had much more yards than that. I don't really know who he reminds me of. He's like a big running back who breaks tackles, but he's also kind of small. He's not that tall, but he's a big guy. I wouldn't mind him in the 6th round, considering Giovanni Bernard didn't play bad this season, but he is getting older. We would cut Bernard, we would save a couple of million. Then we would have Mixon coming back from injury. P. Ryan, who's really played decent. Trevion Williams played good. in his limited attempts. So Jaret Patterson in the 6th round. I know some people might not want to stick in a running back, but if he's there in the 6th round, I would definitely probably take him just because of his potential. I'm a big fan of him. And so Buffalo running back Jaret Patterson in the 6th round. So as we go into the 7th round, I know we just took a corner in the 5th. I also had the Bengals taking another corner, and Robert Rochelle, cornerback from Central Arkansas. Some teams, it seems like small school prospects, especially near the combine and pro day, stuff like that, really rise. Last year from Lenore Ryan, Kyle Duggar came out of pretty much nowhere with a 2nd round pick for the New England Patriots. And I think Rochelle could be one of those guys who really small school, maybe jump into late day 2 after a good pro day and everything like that. For his career, Rochelle has 10 interceptions in his collegiate career. He's also invited to the Senior Bowl, which is very, very impressive considering, you're playing with a very, very small school like Central Arkansas, and you're being invited to the Senior Bowl. That proves that, you got to be really, really good if you're playing at a small school like that and you're still getting recognized. I would not really mind having him. 7th round pick. Let's be most 7th round picks don't even make the team, so why not? Draft Rochelle in the 7th, at least try and get a corner. Darius Phillips was a 5th round pick, and he's played very, very well this season for the Bengals. So you never know unless you really draft somebody. So we went with Rochelle in the 7th round. So we also have one other 7th round pick, and this is one of my favorite picks in this mock. One of the most underrated draft prospects in the entire NFL draft. With our final pick, 197 overall, I have the Bengals taking North Texas wide receiver Jalen Darden. In 9 games this season, Darden had 19 receiving touchdowns in 9 games. That is absolutely insane. He had nearly 1,200 receiving yards in 9 games, 19 receiving touchdowns. That's more than some colleges had total passing touchdowns, more than some starting quarterbacks had passing touchdowns the whole season. Even if this was a regular, normal season in college football. You had 19 receiving touchdowns in just 9 games. Even if we played a 12-game season for some colleges, some quarterbacks would not even get 19 passing touchdowns on the year. That's just absolutely insane. And I really think Darden is a dark horse. I think he's going to be going to a team. He's going to be a sleeper pick, and wherever he goes, he's going to be doing very, very well. Look at Tyreek Hill with the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill was a late round pick coming from a small school. I believe it's Kent State. And Darden, similar situation for North Texas, not a big school. Darden reminds me a lot of Tyreek Hill. And just the way he plays, the way explosive he is, how fast he is. And when I see them, I think Darden is a Tyreek Hill type of player, just everywhere. On the offensive side of the ball, if he catches it, he's going to juke a guy out and do very, very well. But if he's there in the 6th round even, I know I had us getting him in the 7th. If he's there in the 6th, I would maybe go ahead and take him because I think he has so much potential for whatever team he goes to. So that was kind of my 7-round Cincinnati Bengals mock draft. Just a little review here. In the 1st round, we took offensive lineman from Oregon, Penei Sewell. In the 2nd round, we took Florida wide receiver Kadarius Toney. In the 3rd round, we took Miami, Florida edge rusher Quincy Roche. In the 4th round, we took Tennessee Volunteers offensive guard Trey Smith. In the 5th round, we took Michigan corner Ambry Jones. In the 6th round, we took Buffalo running back Jaret Patterson. In the 7th round, we took Central Arkansas cornerback Robert Rochelle. And with our other 7th round pick, we took North Texas wide receiver Jalen Darden. If you can like this episode, like this video and subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. I'm posting so many more mock draft content coming up. Tomorrow I will also be posting my top 10 picks of my mock draft. Last week was my top 10, just a normal top 10. But tomorrow I will be including trades, and I have a huge trade in the top 10. It's going to surprise a lot of people. So make sure to check that out. Thank you all so much for listening. If you could subscribe to the channel, greatly appreciate it. And I will see you next time on the Sports Dude Hein Show.